Well, this chapter gives us some insight into why Tommy is such a scumfuck, unlikable, and extremely hated character. For me, anyway.
Toriko, gourmet number 85, energy.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and gourmet hunters and gourmet revivers of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and kind of frickin' disgusting with all these god darn insects tale of Toriko. Now, our last chapter, of course, took us away from the action a little bit, and we saw it mainly followed Komatsu and Teppei and their quest for the soup that they didn't think existed, but then actually saw the Aurora Borealis-like aura of it, and found that it does exist and are heading towards it. However, the chapter ended with Toriko basically saying, "Come at me, bro," to Tommy, right? That's how things left off, and that's right where things pick up. And honestly, this chapter can be summarized in one sentence. Toriko trying to beat the fuck out of Tommy and his insects. Boom, period. That's what it is. However, when you go a little more in depth on it, you see that Toriko, when his shirt was pulled and torn off to expose his big manly muscles, a couple of chapters ago, and of course he was offered, Match offered him his heat suit, and he said no, you can keep it, and it looked like there was like heat coming off him and everything like that. What he actually was doing is he was actually shivering, but I'm not talking like shivering is the natural thing that your body does. It's a physiological thing. They explain it in here, but just logistically and in real life, that's how it works. When your body gets cold, you shiver, and it's because the thought process is, and the reaction is that if you shake, your muscles will start to warm up, and then of course they will not freeze, and obviously you won't wind up getting like a frostbite or something like that, and several other things that can wind up setting in and causing pain, discomfort, ultimately death if you get too cold without of course warming up. So very cool to see, but this is shivering on a whole new level, right? The chapter is actually called Energy because it straight up just shows the energy that Toriko has, as well as Tommy Rod, which I'll explain in a minute. But Toriko goes and can shiver basically just like, such an abnormal amount that he can't keep it up for a couple hours like a normal person would. But obviously he's going to keep going as long as he can. But this is really just kind of like just burning hot. I mean, Match says during the course of the chapter, at one point, he feels like he's standing next to a damn furnace, and they're in like 80 below zero temperatures, right? So Toriko goes and thaws out his right hand, and just goes and is like creating all this heat and energy just by shivering, right? So Tommy's just still sending insects and swarms of insects, and honestly, his shit's getting old. He's been doing this shit back and forth and on and off for God knows how many chapters now, And Toriko's just like, he's trying to get him to come. He's like, "Come at me, bro." He's telling Tommy, "Stop hiding behind your insects, you little frickin' bitch." Because that's really what Tommy is. He looks like a little sort of weird female, I don't know, kind of like a prostitute and like a doll had sex, and that's what came out, just this weird clown-faced fucking goofball, And he's a sick, disgusting bastard that's cold-blooded with no heart, which we get to in a second as well. So Toriko goes in, and he's trying to take out the bugs that are coming at him as much as he can. And he's doing his flying fork, and he's doing his knife, and he's doing spiked punches. And he's able to take out a bunch of them, but Tommy just keeps sending them. And he's like, "God, you've got to be running out of bugs, And Tommy's like, "Yeah, sure. I can only generate 1,000 more." We also find out that the way he spits these things out, because they come out and it looks like they're just like spewing out. And it's like, dude, you're like your mouth is like Santa's secret bag, okay? It's never-ending bag, because it's bullshit how he can just spit these full-size things out. What happens is he actually has thousands of like little larval like eggs all throughout, I guess, in his body and whatnot. And as he goes and kind of gestates and pushes them out, he actually goes and like feeds them from his own energy, and each one requires like 400 grams of sugar and like so many 1,500 calories and this and that of actual to get going, right? To get going, and should basically just come out, hatch, like get some energy, like fucking man up, and then just fly out and attack, And it's so they're showing that basically him and Toriko both have the ability to kind of burn really, really hot like a supernova, but then they can also burn out very quickly, because the amount that it takes for him to expel just one bug is enough to basically put one person, it's as much energy as a person that runs a 25-kilometer race expends in an entire 25-kilometer race, and collapses the normal person, right? And Tommy's just spitting these things out by the dozens, by the hundreds, right? So anyway, we also go and find out, because Toriko goes and keeps trying to egg him on, that the reason Tommy's perfect for this whole thing, because he's like, hey, don't hide behind your, you know, this and that. Don't hide behind your bugs. Come and fight me. And Tommy's like, listen, buddy, I'm here for the century soup. I give a shit about how you die. I don't care if it's pretty or not. My bugs are more than an adequate, you know, attack against you, right? And then he goes, and it's cool, because as Toriko goes to whip this flying fork at him, you know, he goes and spits out like this huge-looking centipede, and the centipede just goes and just takes it right to the head, and the thing's dead before it even fully comes out of Tommy's mouth, and it falls. And Toriko goes, he's like, don't you feel anything for your fallen warrior insects? You know, he's got a bunch of carcasses on his arm after he takes a bunch of them out. And Tommy's like, no. And that's where he said, I don't give a shit about that garbage. And that's when you realize that Tommy is truly, in a way, he's like the perfect villain, because he doesn't care. He doesn't have any attachments. He doesn't care about these bugs that technically he gives birth to and is the father of. He doesn't give a shit about the people that came with him. He probably doesn't even give a shit about Gourmet Corp if it doesn't suit and align what he's going with. He's very much just kind of a free spirit in the sense that he has no real allegiance to anything, it seems like, you know. He's going to do what he's going to do, and that's it, man. He doesn't care. He doesn't get hung up on the whole technical bullshit of the, oh, and I feel bad, and oh, this person got hurt, and oh, we can't leave anybody behind. He doesn't care. He's checked out mentally like that, right? So even though he looks like a weird little bowl-headed, haircut, freakish, prostitute-like frickin' mannequin, you know, he's still pretty formidable and dangerous in that sense. But anyway, Toriko goes and is trying to go and just as he's spitting more of these things out, Toriko's going and he's using his five-fold and his 10-fold, his spike punch, his Kugi punch, and he's going, and he's a flying fork, and he's with a knife, and he's trying to do everything he can. But as we get towards the end of the chapter, there's this just gruesome few panels where like these things just keep piling up on him, right? And at one point he winds up getting stung by this capture level 35 grass bee or something like that, and his whole arm is swelling up after he takes the thing out. And he gets attacked as a mosquito jumps on his back and is attacking him, and he's, you know, trying to suck his blood out and everything else. God knows what, maybe they're poisoning him too. Toriko is just taking a beating, and he's slowly but surely getting swarmed and overwhelmed by a swarm of bugs, right? And that's why Tommy is just absolutely disgusting when it comes to that. But as we get towards the end of the chapter, again, there's a very, it's kind of a disheartening / like disgusting, you know, several panels as these bugs start to kind of overtake him and get on him. And eventually we see Toriko is just a body of bugs. The bugs have completely not consumed, but basically overwhelmed Toriko, and he just cannot, he's just unable to fight. And even Match is like, oh, fucking Tommy's got that sinister, like, you know, look on his face. So kind of like I don't know, kind of like maybe he like just jerked off or something, you know, to, I don't know, who knows. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not even going to say the joke I was thinking of because it's wrong on so many levels. Anyway, but Toriko, man, he's just completely covered up over here and not looking good. The chapter ends off with that, and, you know, it just doesn't look good. Like I said, Match is like, Toriko! And then you go and you see, as the bugs are going and kind of pulling away, I don't know if they're pulling him to where they got to go to, and he's kind of falling to his knees. That's what it looks like to me. Or if it's like they've kind of come and it looks like they've consumed him, and you're supposed to believe that they're moving away now after they just consumed his body. I don't know, man. I have no idea what's going on. I can't wait to dive into the next one, though. But, man, Tommy is one sick SOB. And that's how the chapter ends off, right? My chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is ultimately, what are your thoughts on the explanation of Tommy and how he can hatch those bugs, as well as Toriko and how he just kind of goes and just when he needs to, just seems like he just goes to another level, man, just another plane of existence, and he's just like, hey, it's really cold. I'm going to go and create like an oven-like, I'm going to shiver so fast and so hard that basically it's going to create like a fire and an oven and a furnace around me to keep me thawed out. And even though I'm burning calories at like thousands per second probably, it's cool. I like to eat a lot, you know. The point is that this is something that we've never seen happen before, and whether it was like a self-defense mechanism or what, I'd like to know what your thoughts are on him just kind of going to the next level and sort of evolving his powers as he needed to obviously to fit the situation that he's in currently, you know, in Ice Hell. So let me know what your answer to that question is in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation.
Come on over and check out my son and my gaming channel. You won't regret it.